Hey guys, Brad Bob here, and I want to discuss something today that's it shouldn't be a long conversation, but it's something that I hear somewhat frequently from retirees. And when I ask them what their plans are for income, what their plans are with their TSP, if they plan on making withdrawals from TSP, and one of the frequent answers that I hear is, "I'm not going to touch my TSP until I have to." Okay, and and one question I have there is, what does that mean? When I have to, uh, when does that take place? And the answer usually is, well, when I have to is when I have to start taking RMDs from the account. So, which the RMDs could be at the age of 73, or for some people, it could be at the age of 75. Depends on how old you are. And it's so take let's look at an example. Okay, talk to somebody this week who was actually 62 and retiring here soon, and she doesn't plan on taking distributions until she has to. Okay, which is actually for her going to be 13 years until she's age 75. All right, so what does that mean, and what's that going to do? Just a couple thoughts. For one, that's great. That is awesome to be in that position to where you don't need income from your TSP. Okay, so kudos to her. She's in a very good financial situation. But that's not uncommon for federal employees that have a FERS annuity, that have been there for 30 plus years, that have a fair amount coming in Social Security, and then a spouse that may have pension. Okay, so she doesn't need the income. All right, but so then I started asking some more questions. Okay, so let's say that she has $1 million today. Okay, and if she were to be forced to take RMDs from that account today, it'd be somewhere around, we'll call it $35,000 she would have to take. All right, now that $35,000 is taxable income. Now, if she leaves that money invested, she has 13 years of that money being invested. Now, if you use the rule of 72 and she were to make 7%, that money would double in about 10 years to $2 million. And then, if we have 13 years and averaging 7%, it'd be even higher. But we'll just go with 2 million. So right now, if her RMD is 35,000 and she doesn't need it, then what's she going to do with the $70,000? And is she going to need that? All right. So if she doesn't need the 35,000 right now, she's probably not going to need the 70,000 in 13 years. Okay. So then what are you going to do? All right. That money's going to have to come out of the TSP or your IRA, wherever that money's at. And then that becomes taxable income. All right. And then another question. So for one, you're going to get that $70,000. You're going to pay taxes on that money. And then if you don't need it, what are you going to do with it? Okay. And if you don't need it, you're probably just going to reinvest it in a taxable account. And then you're going to pay taxes on that account as it grows. Okay. So you're taking out of one account, paying taxes on it, and putting it in a much less efficient account where you have to pay taxes on the growth of it. Also, what about taxes and what about taxable income? Okay, what if this person is on the edge of, say, the 12% tax bracket and the 22% tax bracket? All right, now maybe you're losing an additional 10% of this money or part of this money because you're going to pay a higher amount in taxes on it. All right, so these are all questions to think about. Another thought is maybe you do want to spend money. Okay, so you may not need that, but then if you think about this and think, okay, that money is going to continue to grow, I'm going to be forced to take more out in RMDs. Maybe I do want to spend a little. Maybe I do want to take some trips right now. Maybe you want to give some money to some family members. So that's one possibility. Okay, as far as what I'm getting at here, what I don't like, what I'm not a fan of, is I'm not going to use it until I need to. Okay, or I'm not going to take the money until I'm forced to take it. All right, if that's your plan, fine. I understand that you may not want to take the money. You're just going to pass the money on to somebody. But if you're going to do that, TSP and a traditional IRA are very inefficient vehicles to do that, because you're going to be forced to take the money out, And all distributions from that account are eventually going to be taxed, whether it's you're going to be taxed on it or whether your beneficiaries are going to be taxed on it. So a better plan would be, one, while you're working, plan on it, okay? Get an idea of what kind of income you're going to need from your investments and then plan accordingly, all right? Maybe you don't max out contributions to TSP this year, and maybe part of your contributions go to Roth TSP. Maybe part of your investing goes to a taxable account. Okay, a taxable account can be invested fairly tax efficiently if you know what you're doing and you use the right instruments. Maybe part of that money goes to a Roth IRA. All right, Roth IRAs, Roth TSP are super tax efficient as far as passing on to beneficiaries in the future. All right, so get a plan together, okay? Instead of just saying, I'm just not gonna need my money, I'm not gonna spend it until I'm forced to, all right? Don't leave it in the government's hands, all right? If you leave the money there, the money continues to grow, that's gonna increase what the government is gonna make you take out once you turn somewhere between the ages of 73 and 75, okay? So don't leave it up to them. Start planning now, okay? Maybe you want to invest in some different vehicles that are going to be more efficient, that are going to help you accomplish your goals a little better. Maybe once you retire, you're going to want to look at doing Roth conversions annually, okay? Maybe you can look at, okay, I am in the 12% tax bracket today, and if I took a distribution of $20,000, for example, I can move that into a Roth IRA and convert that to a Roth IRA, and I only pay 12% in income taxes on that, versus being forced to take a higher distribution and then paying higher income taxes, paying for example, a 22% rate, all right? So get a plan, all right? Don't just let that be your default plan. Again, that's a great situation to be in, that you have access to funds that you don't need, but don't just by default leave it there, all right? Come up with a plan of, okay, I'm not gonna need it, so I'm going to plan accordingly, and I'm going to do this, this, and this to try and be more efficient with my money, okay? To try and keep more of it or pass more of it on to my beneficiaries. All right, I'll put a link or two in the comments for some articles that I've written on this subject. Please, please, please do some planning ahead of time, okay? And see what is the best fit for you versus just the default of, I'm going to leave it and let the government decide. Thanks, guys.